I'm gonna show you the simple way that I updated these laminate ugly old countertops by using a DIY Carrera marble kit. In this video, we're gonna talk about why I chose it, who I think it's a good option for, and even show you how it's holding up 2.5 years later. Hi there, I'm Lena. If you're new to my channel, I'm a former real estate agent, stay-at-home mom, and a lover of turning ugly things flipping gorgeous. We're standing inside the cottage that sits on our 2-acre southern estate that we bought a few years ago with the dreams of renovating. And this little cottage is a place that I've put in a lot of time and effort, but didn't have a whole lot of money to put into it. The majority of people who come to stay with us, or parents, or anyone who comes into the cottage, is honestly shocked and blown away and can't believe that these countertops are painted on. So let's get right into it. Let me show you the step-by-step process that I use to transform these countertops. For this project, I am using the Giani Carrera White Marble Epoxy Kit. I purchased it off of Amazon. I will link the product below. I just like that this kit comes with everything that you need and it costs $199. Before you begin the process, it's incredibly important that you do the right prep work. The first thing I did was clean the countertops really well, and then I used the provided drop cloth and just painter's tape to make sure I covered all of my cabinets because you don't want the epoxy dripping on these. It's also really important to tape around your sink if you plan to keep that after you're done. Another reason that I really like this kit is everything comes labeled and it's pretty much foolproof. So literally the first can is labeled step 1, and this is applying the white base paint to the countertops. Now there are several other kits on the market that you could use. Rust-Oleum makes one, or you could just apply white primer and kind of makeshift it or DIY. But again, I really like the kit because it gave me each step by step and had all of the products that I needed. I found it helpful to start at the edges, especially if you have trim going up the wall. So I just used the provided brush to do the perimeter first. Again, just putting on an initial layer of the paint and working my way around the perimeters, and then eventually coming back and doing the countertops with the provided roller. This came in the kit. It comes with 2 roller heads, one that you can do the base paint with, and then another that we'll use later for the epoxy. Just important that you do a nice, smooth, even layer, and then I came over it and did a second layer. So I have 2 coats of the white base paint before we move on to the second step. So for step 2, now that I've got the countertops painted white, we are going to paint on gray veining to make it look like marble using just this countertop paint, and then the sponge to blot it to give it that natural stone look. They provided this small paintbrush to put on the veining. Creating the marble veining was definitely the most intimidating part of going into this project. I don't consider myself to be very artistic, so coming up with beautiful drawn veins was a little bit scary, but I actually found this process to be so much easier than I thought it would be. And the technique is really just taking the brush and slowly going at like a twisted angle to create very natural looking veins. There are patterns that you can find out there if you want to copy them. I wanted a very subtle veining. I didn't want anything too in your face. And then I just kind of found natural legs, if you will, to have them go off to look at like a natural Y, kind of like a river style veining. And again, I just did this by eye. Where did I want it to be a little lighter? Where did I want it to be a little heavier? And then spritzing the water bottle and going back and blotting with the sponge and the brush is really critical to getting that natural look. Again, I was very intimidated by this, but after I did it, and then with a little help from my sister, I really think anyone can do it. Okay, now that I have painted on the veining using the kit, it is now time to apply the epoxy resin. So it comes with these in the kit, and I'm just gonna pour this into it, stir it up for 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and then it'll be ready to pour on top of the surface. Alright, so now that I've got the epoxy mixed up, we are ready to apply it using the provided roller and the brush. The brush is going to be used to do the backsplash, and the roller is going to coat it onto the surface just using a light amount of pressure. So let's give it a The epoxy resin actually turned out to be the most technical portion of the whole process, I felt. Again, I was a little bit scared when I first started applying this, and I found that the key is to be very generous with how much you apply. That way the roller has plenty of material to evenly distribute. So I just rolled over it. When I would see a little dips in the area, I would just try to work in a little more epoxy resin. And the main thing here was trying to get a very flat, even surface, because this is what will harden to create very durable countertops. It almost becomes like as hard as concrete. Ooh, the stuff is really thick, like you're scooping like a thick syrup. Now let's work it in with the roller. Here is the finished product, and honestly, it turned out so much better than I could have even imagined, and I really think it's possible for anyone to do this style of countertop. No one is living in here full time, so I think that's something also to take into consideration. But we do have my dad living here. He was living here for a few months, had people in here cooking and living, but it's not day to day. However, I think these countertops have stood the test of cooking on and getting hot pots set on them. There have been a couple places where it's slightly nicked because it's next to the door and we were moving furniture in and out that I've got to go back and fix the epoxy. But out of a 1 out of 10, I would give the durability about an 8. That epoxy really hardens and makes the surface very durable. They also clean up really easily. We've spilt coffee, we've spilt, you know, cool, like juice. We've spilt all types of things on it and it wipes right up. I haven't seen any type of stain that won't wipe up off the epoxy. So again, in terms of are they easy to clean? Yes, definitely easy. The epoxy on this actually also didn't smell. I've gotten a lot of comments about, aren't you supposed to wear a mask when you epoxy? This particular product didn't have any types of fumes associated with it. Of course, it's still great to wear a mask, but when I watched all the demonstration videos from Giani, they didn't necessarily recommend that you had to do that. I didn't have that high of expectations, but I would 1,000 times over again use this kit and do these countertops that way if I was trying to update my space but didn't have a big budget, had kind of a rental property maybe that needed to be upgraded, but I didn't want to spend that money as well. So I think this is an awesome solution. Thanks for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, if you found it helpful, if you found it educational, would you give it a thumbs up? That really helps the algorithm a whole lot, and share it with somebody that you might know. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.